Hey everybody, and thank you for joining me here at the First Alert Desk. I'm Maria Moreau, taking you through your top stories here at 2 p.m. It's been such a busy news day here for us, and I want to get you caught up on the latest that's been happening. And we're going to jump right into a big story that's going to impact so many people. We're talking about insulin, and I'm going to pull this up for you if you guys just bear with me here momentarily. We're talking about insulin, and this is just such a major announcement from a major company. The company Eli Lilly has announced price reductions for most commonly prescribed insulins. Now, the company also announced the expansion of its insulin value program that caps patients' out-of-pocket costs at $35 or less per month. Now, if you've known the conversation around insulin, or you've been impacted, or you've had a loved one that has been impacted, you know that the biggest controversy and concern from patients is how expensive the insulin can be to access. And so this is a major step, that price reduction that could help so many people. Again, this announcement just builds on years and years of efforts by Lilly to close the gap in the U.S. healthcare system that keeps people with diabetes from accessing affordable insulin. And taking you through our top story that's we've been following since we first broke it to you on Atlanta News First Plus this morning. Jalen Carter, you might know him as the former UGA defensive lineman, now wanted in connection to that fatal crash that we first brought you on January 15th that killed 2 people. I'm going to go through some background with you and then take you to some newer information. We just really moments ago into the newsroom received a statement from Jalen Carter about these arrest warrants. I'm going to get into that statement and everything, but to give those of you that might not be following the story closely or might not know about this, this is stemming from an incident that took place at around 2:45 a.m. on January 15th. Now, the Athens-Clarke County Police Department responded to a vehicle crash that happened on Barnett Shoals Road. Now, the investigation has indicated that a 2021 Ford Expedition was traveling southbound of that lane near Barnett Shoals Road when the vehicle left the roadway, striked 2 power poles and several trees. The passenger, UGA football star Devin Willock, died at the scene, as well as the driver, later identified as UGA staffer Chandler LaCroix. Again, Willock was 20 and LaCroix was 24 at the time of their passing. We also have learned of 2 more people that were injured. Again, this was just such a tragic situation, and to know that it happened hours after the UGA team celebrated their historic national championship back-to-back win. They were back home, and hours later, this crash took place, taking the lives of 2, injuring 2 others. Now at the center of all of this was NFL draft hopeful Jalen Carter, now facing arrest warrants for reckless driving and racing. Again, Jalen Carter took to social media really just moments ago. I'm going to show that to you here. I try to pull up this quote for you, basically addressing the media outlets and social media reaction, and really everyone who's talking about this, and just giving people an insight into how he's feeling about this whole situation. I'm going to read this all out to you. So this is a statement dropped today on social media from Jalen Carter saying, quote, "This morning I received a telephone call from the Athens, Georgia Police Department," and that specifically is Athens-Clarke County Police Department, informing me that 2 misdemeanor warrants had been issued against me for reckless driving and racing. Numerous media reports also have circulated this morning containing inaccurate information concerning the tragic events of January 15th. It is my intention to return to Athens to answer the misdemeanor charges against me and to make certain that the complete and accurate truth is presented. There is no question in my mind that when all of the facts are known, that I will be fully exonerated of any criminal wrongdoing. And we talk about just what a shock this news that dropped today has had on the football community and the Georgia community, I should add. So many people taking to social media just to react, and from reading all of these comments, the word that stands out through so many of these posts is shock. A lot of people feeling shock, and we were talking earlier today during our extended coverage of this breaking news at how tight and close the Georgia football family is, and really the football family is, and so a lot of people saw Jalen Carter as almost one of their own. You know, you follow these football players, these young adults through their many achievements, and the UGA Bulldogs certainly have had so many of those achievements in late 2022 headed into 2023. So this, again, coming at such a shock, as you can see from these several numerous social media reactions to so many to learn of these arrest warrants. Again, from Athens Clarke County Police, the investigation indicating that the driver was Chandler LaCroix and that Jalen Carter was the driver of another vehicle allegedly involved in a racing situation. Now 2 charges being brought against him: reckless driving and racing, which he faces arrest warrants over. And as he said in his statement, he intends to be in communication with the police department and intends to set the record straight. So we'll be following and monitoring everything, every new development that comes out of that, and you can count on us to bring that to you on Atlanta News First and our numerous digital platforms. Getting into some other stories that we've been following, you might remember just students feeling very uneasy at Clark Atlanta University, understandably, after a student was killed in a parking lot, again, near the campus. The gunman still on the run. Now, the victim was identified as student athlete, 20-year-old sophomore Jatani Sterling. Now, Sterling is from Chicago and played baseball at Clark Atlanta. Atlanta police say the shooting happened in the afternoon in the parking lot near the Like House Catholic Student Center on Beckwith Street. Right now, police are saying that the Sterling might have known the shooter, so it might not have been a random, but you can see some of our continued coverage on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. A vigil is expected to be held for the Saline baseball player, again, Jatone Sterling, who was shot and killed in the parking lot of the center near this university. And to get into some additional stories that I want to take you through, really the story that we've been following since the arrest of a young thug, the trial that is going just to make history in Georgia, and specifically to make history is possibly Georgia's longest trial. Again, young thug and so many others are facing a RICO trial that has lasted over 8 weeks with not a single juror seated. Jury selection began, I believe, January 5th. It continues on. They are still in that initial step of trying to fill their jury, trying to go through the process of jury selection so that the trial can officially really kick off. And we are going to be following and monitoring that across all of our platforms, Atlanta News First, as well as our Atlanta News First Plus digital platform. So make sure you stay up to date with that. In the meantime, as we head into our 3 o'clock newscast hour, where we're going to be bringing you really the latest developing stories in these major headlines that are happening across our community. But check out the AtlantaNewsFirst.com website, or even better, download the Atlanta News First app. It's a free app, and it's going to send you alerts and updates on these major stories that we continue to follow so that you don't miss a thing. In the meantime, thank you so much for spending your 2 o'clock hour with me here, and make sure you stay up to date with us on AtlantaNewsFirst.com.